Hello and welcome to video editing, or excuse me, video editor and graphics with Dr. DeRise. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to make thumbnails using Photoshop. And if you're familiar with Photoshop at all, it's pretty simple. By the way, if I look a bit disheveled, I live in Tampa, Florida, and it's hurricane season. So on my way into the house from the car, I got rained on real bad. And we do have a two-car garage, but right now it's full of my wife's car and a bunch of stuff. So anyway, I made it in time to make this tutorial for you. So let's get on with it. Okay, so one of the first things I want to talk about real quick is how to think in layers. Whenever you're doing anything with graphic design or video, you always want to think in layers, unless, of course, the program you're using doesn't really allow for layers. For example, Windows Movie Maker is a video editing program that the free version just has one video track, and you can take two tracks on that one track and transition them together through a transition effect, but it doesn't allow for overlaying. At least the free version doesn't. But if you're looking at Cyberlink Power Director, that's a program that can allow you, I believe, up to 5 layers. And so you can have videos and slides, stills, overlapping each other and have a lot more creative control. Well, Photoshop is a lot like that. You can have as many layers as you can imagine, pretty much. So what that means is that you can bring in different elements and just change the order in order to of those elements in order to create a certain look. So we're going to do that right now. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you so that you can see Photoshop. And okay, here we go. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a picture. Actually, you know what? I'm going to open up the structure of a thumbnail that I already started. Now, if you look at this this interface here, you can see that I have several different pictures of me with different expressions, different suits, with a green screen behind me. And I did those in advance, and I recommend that you do that as well, because it gives you a lot of creative control. Now, here are some slides that I've already completed, and I'm going to go ahead and open one of these up, because this is where I want you to get, okay? So this is the opening slide for, let's see, my restaurant reviews channel, okay? And if we look at the layers palette over here, we can see that I only have one layer here, and that's because this is the JPEG version of this this thumbnail. So let me see if I can find one of the thumbnails that is not a JPEG, and I can go right in here and go down to, let's see, Photoshop document, PDF. Okay, so actually I don't have any Photoshop documents in this folder, and that's fine. So I'm going to go with this one. So I have one layer in here, and that's really not what I want. But I open this up because I want you to see the measurements. When you start a thumbnail for, say, YouTube, you want to look at the size of the image, because YouTube requires that the image be a certain size. So what you want to look at are the pixels. Okay. Now, standard resolution for the web is 72 dots per inch, but I like to go a little bit higher than that, just because it gives me a little bit more freedom. And what I've got here basically is a height of almost 5 inches by 6.5, basically. Okay, width of 6.5. All right, so I'm going to go with that. And that I'm going to use that as my base to work from, but that is not at all what I'm going to have in here. what I want to do is I want to bring in another image, and I'm going to open it up separately. Oops, wait a minute. Pay attention to what you're doing, Eric. Okay, I'm going to open this one right here. And the first thing I want to do is I want to change the size. Okay, and so I'll go to Image, Size, and actually this size is about where I want it, so I'm good. So the first thing I want to do is I want to open up the green screen to be transparent. So I'm going to take the magic wand tool, and I'm going to take this background layer and drag it down to that icon to duplicate it, because the background layer itself won't let me do the effect that I'm about to do. So I'm going to work basically on the background copy. Okay, magic wand tool is going to allow me to select an area of a certain color. Okay, so what I can do right here is I can delete this. So I just hit the delete key, and if I turn off the eye of the background layer, you'll notice that on this upper layer, you are looking at the image with a transparent background. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the right. Select the area with the magic wand tool. Now I want to select both areas, and so I'm going to hold the shift key down and then click in the left area, and it's going to allow me to select both at the same time. Okay, so both are selected at the same time. Now, the edge of this image has kind of a sharp, slightly jagged feel to it. So what I want to do is I just want to soften it up a little bit. So I'm going to go up here to Select and Feather. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to sort of have a soft, almost blurry edge look to it. Okay, now it's at a feather radius of 10 pixels. I don't want to go that far. I just want to do 2, okay? I want this to be a very subtle feather, okay? And, okay, it's not responding. Okay, let me try this again. So let's go with 2. And what that does is it selects the range about 2 pixels in to the image, okay? So that's selected, and I'm going to hit delete again. Now it's very subtle, you may not have noticed it, but what that did was it took some of the pixels and gradually removed them from the inside of this image. Okay, now I'm going to hit Control D to deselect, and I want to see, I want to fill this area. So I'm going to take another layer and click on this layer icon, and as you can see, I've got that layer selected now, okay? And I'm going to just go in here with the magic wand tool. And what that does is it selects the whole area of the top layer. And I'm going to fill it. So I go up to Edit, Fill, and it's going to ask me, because if you look over here, we've got 2 colors that we can fill with, this green or this black. So the green is the foreground color, and the black is the background. So I'm going to go with the foreground color. I'm going to hit OK. Now everything went green because that layer is on top, which means it's in front of the background layer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab this background layer and drag it up, and now the image is in front of the box full of color. Okay. Another thing I want to do is I want to put some type on here. So I'm going to select the type tool, and I'm going to click. Oh, actually, I need to deselect. So I'm going to hit, let me close this real quick here. Oh, it already did it. Okay. So I'm going to change the color of the text to white. Okay. And I'm going to just type in, what is going on? Because that's what's coming to mind right now. Now, if you look at this type, it's not very big, right? So I want to change the size to something like 75. And I want to see how that looks. So I'm going to hit OK. And it did not change the size at all, did it? So I'm going to, with the type tool. Oh, wow, you are giving me some problems here. Oh, it looks like Photoshop's going to crash. That's not good timing. Okay, it scared me. I thought it was going to crash. I have to select. Come on, select. Okay, got to select this. So I'm clicking and dragging across in order to select, and then I'm typing in 75. And you notice now the text is getting much bigger. Okay, that's the effect I wanted. All right, I want to move this text down. And I kind of like this look. So I'm going to leave it behind my head. And I'm running out of time here. So actually, you know what? I think that I'm going to grab the type tool. I think that it would look better if it were just a little bit smaller. So I'm double clicking on the text while I have the text tool. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. Double click on the text layer. And I think that 75 is too big. So I'm going to make it 60 instead. Okay, that looks a little bit better there. All right, as you can see, the layer that has the type on it is the one that's highlighted. So that's the one that's selected. Okay. And so I'm going to leave this just like this, even though it makes no sense. I'm running out of time. So, all right, so I'm going to save this, but I'm not going to just hit, well, I am going to do a save as, and it's going to default to save as a Photoshop document. So I'm just going to do demo. Oops, wait a minute. Demo. And save. Now, that's not what you're going to want to use for your thumbnail. What you're going to want to use is a JPEG. Okay, so JPEG is a non-editable document unless you want to bring it into another program and mess with it. So I'm going to do another save as, and I'm going to select, oh, wait a minute. This is an older version of Photoshop. So I'm going to have to do a save a copy. And then it will let me save it as a different file format, a JPEG. Okay. Okay, and save. Wants to know, you know, what quality do you want on this image, and that kind of shows that. Okay, and so now what you're looking at are right there is the Photoshop document. Okay, but if I click on this, you can see the original image, which was a JPEG. Okay, so I have run out of time, so I'm gonna wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you know, if you did, go ahead and click on the like button. Hopefully next time I do a tutorial with you, I won't be just drenched. But yeah, click on the like button, please. And also click the subscribe button. It does help the channel out. And all I can say is until next time, take care.